Okay, part 2 of the chapter 10.2 notes. Okay, we did the first page on the first part. Now we're going to do the back side and do the second half of the notes about political parties. Okay, so back to local organization on page 256. We talked about campaign leaders and how they distribute campaign literature. They also arrange to have voters with disabilities driven to vote, and have party workers call voters and urge them to vote. So, arrange to have voters picked up. So like if you're elderly or you're unable to drive, then they can come and pick you up and take you to go vote. They also have party workers call voters and urge them to vote. Huh?
Do they have to pick people up?
Do they have to? No. Some people take the bus or drive themselves or walk. Usually the polling place is fairly close to your home, so they can usually walk. Now, like some people, if like military people who are overseas, or like when I was in, bless you, when I was in college, I would do I would vote early as an absentee ballot because I was not going to be home on the day of elections. I had class. So I could vote ahead of time, and then they would count my vote towards the total that was collected on election day. Okay? Okay, we're going to talk about a little bit about campaign financing. This is the top of page 257. Running for political office is very expensive. For example, the presidential candidates who ran in the 2004 election raised a total of more than $900 million. $900 million. That is insane. Running for political office is very expensive.
How come?
Just because you have the cost of hiring campaign managers, the cost of making signs, buttons, paying for employees, travel expenses. So if you travel around, let's say you're running for governor and you travel around the state, it's very expensive. All those things add up quickly. Okay. Right now in the news, they're talking about how expensive it is for the people who are running for governor right now. We're going to have an election for governor in Illinois next year. So people are starting to campaign and put their bid in. And it's very expensive. A lot of them use private financing. Voters, business groups, labor unions, and many other organizations contribute money to the political party that they best believe represents their interests. However, people often worry that big contributors to a candidate will receive special favors if he or she wins. To limit political contributions, Congress passed the Federal Election Campaign Act of '72. And in 2002, Congress passed the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, which revised the contribution limits. So it says that certain groups can only allow a certain amount to be donated. So, private financing. Voters like you and me. Business groups. Labor unions. And other organizations. Contribute money to the political party they say represents them the best. Okay, so teachers are a part of a union. Okay, there's a group where the teachers say that, you know, on our contract and stuff, they have to pay us X number of dollars, we have to get so many sick days, we have to have such and such time to prepare. The teachers union will back a candidate. So if the teachers union says we like Joe Schmo, then they might donate some money that they have to Joe Schmo. Okay? You can also have private campaign donations. So like, let's say Joe Schmo was running and I really, really liked Joe Schmo. I might donate some of my own personal money to help Joe Schmo fund his campaign. Okay? On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have something called public financing. Can I scroll this up? Are we good? Public financing. Okay, the Federal Election Campaign Act created the FECA also created Presidential Election Campaign Fund. I think I misspelled created on here too. Not created, created. Tell me again, Taylor.
Presidential Election Campaign Fund?
Okay, this is where people who are running for president can use some of the money in this fund to run, okay? Now, by checking a box on your federal tax return, Americans contribute some of your tax return to this campaign. Now, it goes for all candidates, okay? So, you contribute $3 of your taxes to the election fund. Okay, so if you check the box on your tax return, when you go get your taxes filed in sometime between January and April, if you donate your $3, it goes into this election campaign fund, and presidential candidates can use that money to fund their campaign. Once a person receives the nomination from a political party, they can no longer receive private contributions. So once President Trump got the official nomination from his political party, so let's say, for example, I could not write him a check to help pay for his campaign funds. Okay? But before then, I could personally give him a check to do that. But since he received the nomination from his political party, he could no longer do that. All right. Now, for your summary at the bottom, what did you learn from today's notes? Okay, what did you learn? What's something that you are going to take away from after learning about political parties?
That is expensive.
Okay, I want you to write it in sentences down at the bottom of your notes. When you're done, you can put these in your binder, and that's all the notes we have for today.